Have you ever wondered why some people seem unshakable, unstoppable, and untouchable while others collapse under the weight of life's pressures? It isn't luck. It isn't chance. It isn't even talent. It is control. The ability to command what most people carelessly throw away. Control over the mouth, the mood, the money, and the mind. 4 forces that quietly determine whether you rise or whether you fall. 4 forces that either build your life into something unbreakable or scatter it into pieces you can never put back together. The truth is, the greatest battles you will ever fight are not with the world outside, but with the impulses within. The careless words you let slip when emotions take over. The mood swings that sabotage relationships and decisions. The financial recklessness that steals your freedom and traps you in cycles of stress. The uncontrolled mind that fills your days with noise, distraction, and doubt. These are the real enemies. These are the chains you carry every single day without realizing that the key has always been in your hands. The world will not hand you peace, success, or respect. It will test you, push you, and provoke you. And when it does, only one question will matter. Can you stay in control? Because control is not about restriction. Control is about liberation. It is about taking back your power from the chaos that tries to rule you. When you control your mouth, you stop words from digging holes you'll spend years trying to climb out of. When you control your mood, you stop giving your power away to every wave of anger or sadness. When you control your money, you free yourself from the prison of debt and the constant stress of survival. And when you control your mind, you unlock the highest level of freedom where no outside storm can shake your inner foundation. Think about it. The most respected leaders, the most trusted individuals, the most admired figures in history, none of them were perfect, but all of them shared one trait. They did not let impulses run their lives. They mastered restraint. They mastered discipline. They mastered control. And that mastery gave them an aura of strength that drew people in and made the world take them seriously. Imagine yourself with that same mastery. Imagine being the person others cannot rattle, the person who doesn't break under pressure, the person who holds power not because they shout for it, but because they embody it. You are not powerless. You are not weak. The ability to take command is already within you. But if you ignore it, if you drift through life letting words, moods, money, and thoughts rule you, you will hand over your destiny to chaos. And chaos has no mercy. But if you decide today that you will take control, you set in motion a transformation that no one can stop. Because control is the foundation of respect, the engine of freedom, and the gateway to lasting success. Stay with this message because every part that follows will give you the tools, the mindset, and the strength to master these 4 forces once and for all. And when you do, you will no longer be at the mercy of life's storms. You will become the storm, steady, powerful, and unstoppable. Words are not just sounds. They are energy, carrying weight that shapes how the world sees you and how you see yourself. Every sentence you speak is either building your reputation or tearing it down. Every phrase you release into the air is either creating doors of opportunity or slamming them shut in your face. Control over the mouth is not about speaking less. It is about speaking with purpose. It is about choosing words that carry power instead of weakness, respect instead of recklessness, authority instead of regret. Think of the damage a single careless word can do. Friendships end, trust shatters, opportunities vanish. Once spoken words cannot be pulled back, and their consequences often last far longer than the moment they were said. Psychology proves this. The brain remembers emotional words more vividly than neutral ones, and people will forget your actions before they forget how your words made them feel. When you lose control of your mouth, you give away respect, you lose credibility, and you let impulse dictate your destiny. But when you master your speech, you elevate yourself above the noise, and people begin to listen differently. Silence itself can be a weapon. The strongest individuals know when to hold back. They know that restraint in speech radiates confidence. When you pause before you speak, you signal discipline. You show others that your words are chosen, not spilled out of emotion. And people trust chosen words. They lean in when you talk because they know you are not wasting air. You transform from someone who simply reacts into someone who commands. That is the difference between a person others overlook and a person others cannot ignore. Science shows that even the words you direct inward to yourself are reshaping your brain. Your inner dialogue wires your beliefs, and those beliefs guide your behavior. If your speech is careless, outwardly, chances are it is destructive inwardly. Mastering the mouth means mastering both, controlling the words you give to the world and controlling the words you feed to your own mind. Negative self-talk corrodes confidence and fuels hesitation, while disciplined, empowering self-talk builds courage and momentum. By controlling the language you use, you rewrite the story you live. There is power in knowing that you don't have to respond to every insult, every provocation, every spark of anger. The weak react instantly, spilling whatever comes to mind. The strong measure their words, and in that space between impulse and expression lies their power. That space is where leaders are made, respect is earned, and wisdom is revealed. You gain more authority by saying less with precision than saying more with chaos. Imagine how different your life becomes when every word you speak aligns with strength, intention, and clarity. People respect you. They trust you. They see you as someone who thinks before acting, someone whose presence carries weight. You stop being ordinary and start becoming magnetic. Your words will carry the kind of gravity that makes others stop and pay attention. And once you have that, opportunities open, relationships deepen, and influence grows. The mouth can either be the fastest path to regret or the sharpest tool of power. The choice is yours. Control it and you rise. Neglect it and you remain trapped in cycles of damage you create with your own voice. This is the first command of greatness. Master your mouth and you begin to master your life. The greatest weakness revealed in a person is not their failures, but their inability to control emotional outbursts. A single eruption of anger, a careless reaction, or a reckless burst of words can undo years of effort in seconds. When you let emotion dictate your behavior, you hand over your power to the very forces that seek to control you. What looks like strength in the moment, a raised voice, a sharp insult, an aggressive reaction, is actually weakness disguised as power. True power is calm under fire. True strength is measured in restraint when chaos is screaming for your reaction. Every time you explode without thought, you show the world that you are ruled by impulse, not intention. You reveal that your emotions are your master, and in that instant, your credibility crumbles. The human brain is wired to remember moments of high emotional impact. People will hold on to that one outburst, that one reckless response, and they will question your stability long after you've forgotten it. That's why undisciplined outbursts cost more than you realize. They damage trust, they weaken respect, and they make people hesitant to rely on you when it matters most. Psychology makes it clear, when emotions spike, the rational part of your brain temporarily shuts down. You are no longer thinking with logic, you are thinking with raw survival instincts. And survival instincts are not built for success in modern life, they are built for reaction, not strategy. Every time you give in to an emotional outburst, you are stepping backward, letting the primitive part of your brain dictate choices that require wisdom and foresight. The result is regret. Regret for the words you cannot take back. Regret for the damage you cannot repair. Regret for the opportunities that slipped away because you could not master yourself. But within every trigger lies a choice. Between the spark and the explosion exists a gap where discipline can step in, a breath, a pause, a moment to hold back the storm. That small act of control separates the impulsive from the powerful. Those who learn to pause, to measure, to redirect, gain an unshakable advantage in life. They become the people others trust, admire, and turn to in moments of crisis. They do not burn bridges with emotion. They build foundations with composure. Control of your mouth begins with control of your emotional state. When you speak from calm, your words cut deeper than anger ever could. Anger shouts, but composure commands. Rage intimidates for a moment, but calm strength leaves a permanent impression. People are drawn to stability, to those who can stand tall while others crumble. That is the kind of person you must become if you want lasting influence. Ask yourself, how many battles in your life were not lost to the world, but to your own uncontrolled reactions? How many doors closed not because you lacked talent, but because you lacked restraint? These are the silent assassins of progress, your own emotions turning against you. But the moment you decide to own them, to direct them instead of being directed by them, you step into real strength. The world doesn't respect the loudest voice in the room. It respects the calmest presence. the one who refuses to be provoked, the one who holds the power of silence, the one who speaks with purpose after the storm has passed. Master that, and no outbursts, no insult, no wave of emotion can ever shake the control you carry within. Mood is the invisible current steering your life, often without you realizing it. It decides how you treat others, how you handle challenges, and how you show up for yourself. Yet, most people drift through their days letting moods dictate everything, like puppets pulled by strings they cannot see. One bad morning sets the tone for the entire day. One disappointment poisons every interaction that follows. And without control, moods spread like wildfire, infecting not only your mind, but also the energy of everyone around you. This is the hidden danger. Moods are contagious. Science calls it emotional contagion. The tendency for people to mirror the emotions of those they spend time with. Walk into a room carrying frustration, and you pass it to everyone you encounter. Walk in with composure, and you create stability where chaos was ready to grow. Your mood becomes the atmosphere others breathe in. If you fail to command it, you are not only sabotaging yourself, you are sabotaging everyone connected to you. An uncontrolled mood makes you unpredictable. One moment you are calm, the next you are volatile. People stop trusting your presence because they cannot trust your state. But when you control your mood, you become a rock, a steady foundation others can lean on. That steadiness draws respect because it shows maturity, it shows strength, it shows mastery over forces that break most people down. The brain is designed to react to emotion before logic. That's why moods feel so powerful. They hijack thought and demand immediate attention. But just because a mood arrives does not mean it must rule you. Every emotion is a visitor, not a permanent resident. It comes, it demands space, but you decide whether to let it stay. Too many people hand over the keys without resistance. They believe the lie that moods are truth, when in reality, moods are temporary states that can be shifted with awareness and discipline. Imagine what changes when you refuse to be owned by your moods. You stop letting a rough morning ruin your entire day. You stop letting one negative comment derail your focus. You stop letting circumstances outside your control decide the state of your inner world. And instead, you create the power to choose, to respond instead of react, to project calm instead of chaos, to carry strength into every room you enter. Controlling your mood is not about suppressing emotion. It is about directing it. Anger can fuel focus. Sadness can fuel reflection. Excitement can fuel creation. Every mood has energy within it, and energy can be harnessed. When you decide that every state you feel will be transformed into fuel rather than weakness, you stop being a victim of your inner weather and start becoming its master. People admire those who can stay balanced when others collapse. They look to the one who remains calm in uncertainty, stable in conflict, and consistent through challenge. That person is rare. That person is powerful. And you can be that person, but only if you rise above the trap of being controlled by fleeting moods and start living with the strength of chosen states. The world does not need more people who crumble under feelings. It needs more people who stand taller than their emotions, who embody steadiness in the face of storms. When you control your mood, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone around you. Emotions are not enemies. They are signals, raw forces rising within you, waiting to be directed. The problem is not that you feel deeply. The problem is that most people allow those feelings to control their actions instead of converting them into fuel. Anger, sadness, fear, excitement, each one carries energy. Left unchecked, that energy burns you. Controlled, it becomes fire that lights your path forward. Anger, for example, often destroys because it's expressed without thought. Yet that same intensity, when redirected, can drive discipline, sharpen focus, and push you to accomplish what once felt impossible. Sadness, too, can drown those who surrender to it. But sadness holds reflection, the ability to pause, learn, and rebuild with greater wisdom. Even fear, the emotion most people run from, carries immense value. It points to the exact places where growth waits. Fear marks the doorway to your strength. Only by stepping through it do you discover the courage you never knew was yours. The science of emotion reveals something profound. Your brain cannot tell the difference between anxiety and excitement at the physiological level. The racing heart, the shallow breath, the adrenaline, they are the same. The meaning comes from the label you give it. Call it fear, and it paralyzes you. Call it energy, and it propels you forward. That means you hold the power. You decide whether emotions weaken or strengthen you. You decide whether they are chains or weapons. Control does not mean suppression. Suppressed emotions leak out in destructive ways. Control means recognition, redirection, and transformation. It means observing what you feel without becoming a prisoner of it. It means asking, how can I use this state to build rather than to break? Every emotion has a purpose. Every feeling carries energy. And when you learn to master this alchemy, life stops tossing you around because you become the one shaping the current. Resilience is born in this mastery. The ability to face difficulty without collapsing, to experience pain without letting it define you, to take the weight of emotion and turn it into strength. This is what separates the fragile from the unshakable. Resilience is not the absence of emotion. It is the decision to rise with it instead of fall under it. It is the art of turning every internal storm into wind that fills your sails. When you no longer fear your feelings, you stop running from yourself. You stop hiding from discomfort. You stop allowing moods to dictate whether today is wasted or won. Instead, you own every moment. Because no matter what you feel, you know how to shape it into momentum. That is freedom. That is power. Imagine waking up and knowing that nothing can steal your progress because no mood, no wave of emotion, no sudden surge of feeling has the power to dictate your actions. Imagine living as the kind of person who can stand steady while the world trembles, who can channel every emotion into strength, who can use the very things that break others to build unshakable foundations. That is what awaits when you learn to transform emotion into energy. And once you master that, nothing within you can ever hold you back again. Money is not just currency. It is discipline materialized. It is a mirror reflecting how much control you truly have over yourself. People often believe financial problems come from not earning enough, but the deeper truth is that most financial struggles are rooted in a lack of control, not a lack of income. Wealthy habits can be practiced at any level, while poor habits can keep even the highest earners trapped. The way you handle money reveals whether you are ruled by impulse or guided by vision. The temptation to spend is psychological. Every purchase releases a burst of dopamine, the same chemical the brain releases during pleasure or reward. That's why impulsive spending feels good in a moment, yet leaves you with regret later. The quick hit of excitement fades, but the consequences remain. On the other hand, delayed gratification activates a different level of strength. It teaches the brain patience, resilience, and foresight. Every time you resist unnecessary spending, you are not just saving money, you are rewiring your brain for discipline. Financial freedom is never about how much you earn. It is about how much you keep and how intentionally you direct it. Without control, money becomes a chain. It traps you in cycles of debt, stress, and constant survival. With control, money becomes a tool. It provides options, peace of mind, and the ability to design your life on your own terms. That difference is not determined by chance. It is determined by mastery. Consider how much of your stress is tied to money. Sleepless nights, broken relationships, constant worry about bills or obligations, all of it rooted in the absence of financial control. Money amplifies everything. In the hands of the undisciplined, it magnifies weakness. In the hands of the disciplined, it magnifies strength. That is why control in this area is not optional. It is essential. If your finances are chaotic, your life will carry that chaos. If your finances are steady, your life gains stability. Self-mastery in money is not about deprivation. It is about alignment. Every dollar you save, every choice you make is a vote for the future version of you. It is proof that you value freedom more than fleeting pleasure. It is evidence that you will not let impulse dictate your destiny. That is power. Quiet, unseen, but life-changing. Discipline with money builds confidence. It shifts your identity from someone who reacts to every desire to someone who acts with purpose. And when you begin to see progress, when your savings grow, when debt shrinks, when control replaces chaos, you feel something greater than pleasure. You feel pride. Pride in knowing you are not owned by your circumstances. Pride in knowing you are building a foundation that cannot be shaken. Imagine living without the constant shadow of financial stress. Imagine making choices from freedom rather than fear. Imagine knowing that you are secure, stable, and prepared. not because the world gave you wealth, but because you mastered the art of control. That is not a dream, it is a decision. And the moment you decide to treat money as a reflection of your discipline, everything changes. Money stops being your master and you finally become its commander. The world is full of traps designed to strip you of control over your money. Easy credit, endless advertisements, social comparison, and the constant push to live beyond your means are not accidents. They are systems built to keep you dependent. Every swipe of the card, every purchase made to impress others, every decision fueled by impulse rather than intention feeds that system and drains your power. This is why so many people feel chained to their finances. They are not broke because they lack opportunity. They are broke because they surrender control. Debt is one of the sharpest traps. It offers the illusion of freedom in the present but demands servitude in the future. Every borrowed dollar is a promise of your time, your energy, your effort, stolen before you even live it. That is why those who fall into endless cycles of debt rarely find peace. Their tomorrow is already owned. True freedom can never exist when your future belongs to creditors. Control is not about denying yourself everything. It is about refusing to sell your life for momentary pleasure. Comparison is another silent trap. Social media floods your mind with images of lifestyles that appear perfect. Cars, clothes, vacations, all carefully curated to make you believe you are behind. And so you spend, not from desire, but from insecurity. You chase appearances instead of building foundations. But the truth is, no one posting their highlight reel will pay your bills. No one flashing their luxuries will carry your burdens. You must decide, will you spend to impress strangers or will you save to secure your future? The disciplined choose security. The undisciplined choose illusion. Psychology shows us that the brain receives a rush of dopamine with every purchase, but it also shows that the same chemical is released when we watch progress grow. Savings accounts increasing, investments compounding, debt shrinking. The difference is one reward fades instantly, while the other builds a lasting sense of pride and freedom. You can train your mind to crave progress more than pleasure. You can rewire your brain to see discipline as victory and impulsive spending as defeat. This is the deeper work, and it is within your control. The path to financial control is not about restriction, it is about redirection. You learn to delay gratification, to replace shallow highs with deep rewards. Every dollar saved is not just money, it is a piece of your future secured. Every dollar invested is a seed planted that will multiply while you sleep. Every time you say no to impulse, you are saying yes to freedom. You are saying yes to peace of mind. You are saying yes to becoming unshakable. When you begin to see money for what it truly is, an amplifier, you respect it differently. In the hands of the undisciplined, it creates chaos. In the hands of the disciplined, it creates opportunity. Wealth is not about numbers in a bank account. It is about the identity you build in the process of controlling it. When you prove to yourself that you can command your finances, you prove that you can command your life. Freedom has a cost, and that cost is discipline. But once paid, the reward is priceless. You will no longer live under stress, no longer be manipulated by comparison, no longer sell your future for fleeting pleasure. Instead, you will live with strength, security, and the calm that only comes when you know you are in control. The greatest battlefield you will ever face is not the world outside, but the mind within. Your thoughts shape your reality more than circumstances ever could. What you dwell on expands. What you focus on strengthens. An uncontrolled mind drags you into anxiety, distraction, and endless cycles of doubt. A controlled mind sharpens your vision, fuels your discipline, and creates the clarity needed to build a powerful life. Every victory begins in the mind, and every defeat does too. Attention is the most valuable resource you possess. More valuable than money, more valuable than time, because where your attention goes, your energy flows. Yet most people scatter it across distractions, wasting hours on noise that brings no progress. They hand over their mental space to social media, negativity, gossip, and fear, then wonder why their life feels heavy and directionless. The truth is simple. You cannot build strength with a distracted mind. Focus is the rarest form of power, and the one who masters it commands their destiny. Psychology shows us that thoughts are not random. They are patterns. Repeated thoughts carve pathways in the brain through neuroplasticity. Every time you think a certain way, you strengthen that pathway. making it easier to think the same thought again. This is why negativity feels automatic for some people. They have rehearsed it for years. But here's the powerful truth. Just as the brain can wire in weakness, it can rewire for strength. New patterns can be built. Positive focus, disciplined thinking, and intentional mental habits reshape the brain to work for you instead of against you. And disciplined mind becomes your prison. It whispers doubts until you stop trying. It distracts you until you forget your goals. It floods you with fear until you surrender your courage. Left unchecked, it will consume your potential and leave you with regret. But when you take command of your thoughts, you stop being the prisoner and start becoming the architect. You decide what gets planted in your mental soil. You decide what grows and what dies. That is ultimate freedom. Control of the mind does not mean never experiencing doubt or fear. It means refusing to let those states rule you. It means noticing the toxic thought and replacing it with one that builds. It means choosing focus when distraction calls, choosing belief when insecurity whispers, choosing strength when weakness tempts you. Each choice builds momentum. Each choice strengthens the mental armor that protects you from collapse. Think about the power of a focused mind. When you direct all your energy into a single purpose, distractions lose their grip. Noise fades. Doubt shrinks. Suddenly, progress accelerates because you are no longer scattering your energy. You are channeling it like a laser. The world bends to those with that kind of focus. Opportunities find them. People respect them. Success follows them because their clarity is magnetic. The mind is the command center of your entire life. If you fail to control it, every other area will eventually unravel. But if you master it, everything else aligns. The mouth, the mood, the money, all of it flows from the mind. Master the inner world and the outer world can no longer break you. This is the core of real power, the ability to command your thoughts and, through them, command your life. Discipline is not punishment. It is liberation. Most people think freedom means doing whatever they feel like whenever they feel like it. But that kind of freedom leads to chains. Chains of laziness, procrastination, regret, and wasted years. True freedom is the ability to rise above impulses, to command yourself instead of being controlled by cravings and comfort. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Without it, potential rots. With it, potential ignites. The human mind is built to conserve energy, to seek the path of least resistance, to avoid discomfort. That instinct kept our ancestors alive, but in today's world, it becomes a trap. The mind whispers, stay in bed, skip the workout, delay the task, play it safe. Every time you obey, you reinforce weakness. Every time you resist, you sharpen strength. Discipline is not about doing extraordinary things once. It is about doing simple things consistently until they become unshakable habits that define who you are. Psychologists call this the principle of delayed gratification, the ability to resist a smaller, easier reward now for a bigger, greater reward later. Those who master it dominate life. Those who fail it remain stuck, trading long-term fulfillment for short-term comfort. Goal you've ever dreamed of requires passing this test. Every transformation demands that you choose the pain of discipline over the pain of regret. One lasts minutes, the other lasts a lifetime. Discipline rewires identity. When you push yourself beyond excuses, you stop seeing yourself as weak or incapable. You start seeing yourself as someone who follows through, someone who finishes, someone who does not fold under pressure. That identity is priceless because once you believe you are disciplined, every action begins to align with that belief. The body follows the mind and the environment bends to match the standard you set. Consistency is the hidden force behind all greatness. A single act of discipline changes little, but repeated daily, it compounds into unstoppable momentum. Small actions done with relentless consistency become massive results. The mind begins to trust you. The body begins to obey you. The future begins to form itself around you. Momentum is not magic. It is the reward of discipline. The truth is, most people will not stay consistent, and that is why they remain average. They start strong, but quit when it gets hard. They let emotions dictate effort. But those who rise above emotion, who keep moving even when motivation disappears, discover the secret. Discipline outlasts inspiration. You do not need to feel like it. You only need to do it. Every time you act without waiting for motivation, you build power. Discipline is the great equalizer. You may not have the most talent, the most money, or the best connections, but if you out-discipline others, you will outlast them. You will surpass them. Life bends to the relentless. Opportunities reveal themselves to the consistent. Results obey the discipline. When you control your thoughts and pair them with unwavering discipline, you become unstoppable. The excuses dissolve, the distractions lose their grip, and the dream begins to materialize not because you wished for it, but because you earned it. That is the essence of power, to master yourself so fully that nothing outside of you can dictate your destiny. Energy is the most valuable currency you own because everything you want in life requires it. Without energy, discipline fades, focus shatters, and motivation dies. Success is not built on endless hours of grinding alone. It is built on managing and protecting your energy so you can show up with power every single day. Too many people burn themselves out chasing results without realizing they are draining the very resource that fuels achievement. If you want control over your life, you must first take control over your energy. Your mind and body are not separate. What you feed your body affects your thoughts, your emotions, and your decisions. A tired, overfed, undernourished body produces a restless, cloudy mind. Sleep-deprived nights lead to anxious days. Junk food clouds judgment. Stimulants create temporary highs followed by crushing lows. The cycle keeps you weak, distracted, and reactive. But when you fuel your body with clean food, rest deeply, and move with purpose, the mind sharpens. Clarity rises, strength flows through you. The smallest choices about how you treat your body either build or drain the energy you need to live with excellence. Psychologists call this self-regulation, the ability to control impulses, delay gratification, and choose long-term benefit over short-term pleasure. Energy fuels this regulation. When you are exhausted, willpower collapses, and your decisions become emotional instead of rational. You lash out in anger, you waste money on impulse, you procrastinate instead of acting. But when you are energized, you pause, you think, and you choose powerfully. The quality of your energy determines the quality of your life. This is why routines matter. Habits are not just about productivity. They are about conserving and directing energy. Every time you decide what to wear, what to eat, or when to start your work, you burn mental fuel. But when you automate these decisions with routines, you preserve energy for what truly matters. The most successful people in history mastered this principle. They designed their lives so energy was not wasted on trivial decisions, but concentrated on their mission. Your environment also shapes your energy. Negative people drain you, clutter distracts you, noise scatters your focus. Surround yourself with chaos and you will feel heavy and restless. Surround yourself with order, beauty, and purpose, and you will feel lighter, sharper, and stronger. Energy is contagious. Who you allow into your space determines whether you rise or sink. Protect your circle. Guard your environment. Respect your energy as if it were gold, because it is. The truth is, most people treat their energy carelessly, then wonder why their life feels like an uphill battle. They sacrifice sleep to scroll on screens. They spend hours around people who drain them. They eat food that weakens their body. They give their best energy to meaningless distractions and leave nothing for their goals. That is not just a bad habit, it is self-sabotage. But you are not most people. You are learning to shift, to guard your energy, to feed your body wisely, to honor rest, and to create boundaries that protect your focus. When you choose to live this way, your energy multiplies. Your days become lighter. Your discipline strengthens. Your mind clears. You discover a level of power within yourself that others cannot even see because they are too tired to reach it. And when your energy rises, your entire life rises with it. Everything you want in life requires focus. Focus is not a skill you stumble into. It is a muscle you build, a decision you make, and a discipline you practice relentlessly. The mind will always seek distraction because distraction is easy, comfortable, and seductive. Every notification, every fleeting temptation, every moment of scattered attention is an attack on your potential. Each time you give in, you weaken your power. Each time you resist, you strengthen it. The quality of your focus determines the quality of your results. Undisciplined attention creates chaos. The mind flits from one thought to another, from one worry to another, and nothing gets done. Your goals remain distant, your dreams blurry, and your days slip away with frustration and regret. Focus is what separates those who succeed from those who merely wish. It is the invisible force behind every achievement, the hidden driver of excellence, the lever that moves mountains when applied consistently. Without it, even the most talented, intelligent, or resourceful person can fall short. Science shows that attention is finite. Every choice, every distraction, every indulgence burns cognitive energy. Willpower and focus are not infinite resources. They are limited, like fuel in a tank. The person who protects their focus, who directs it with intention, becomes unstoppable because they allocate their energy toward what matters most. The person who fritters attention on meaningless tasks, gossip, or digital noise becomes weak, scattered, and reactive. Mastery of life is impossible without mastery of focus. Clarity emerges when focus is cultivated. A focused mind sees opportunity where others see obstacles. It moves decisively when others hesitate. It commands respect because its presence is undeniable. People who live in distraction are controlled by circumstance. People who control attention control circumstance. Every achievement begins with the ability to see clearly, to choose where your energy goes, and to act without hesitation. Focus is not just doing more, it is doing what matters most with relentless precision. Distractions are never harmless. Every minute spent on mindless scrolling, every hour wasted on unimportant concerns is a minute taken from your potential. Time lost is energy lost, momentum lost, and influence lost. The mind forgets easily, but results do not. Every day that slips by without concentrated effort compounds into a life half lived. But the moment you decide to seize focus, to protect your attention like a fortress, everything changes. Your energy multiplies. Your progress accelerates. Your vision crystallizes. Building focus requires boundaries. Protect your mind from unnecessary noise. Say no to what does not serve your goals. Resist the urge to multitask. Concentrate on the task in front of you with absolute intensity. That discipline transforms ordinary action into extraordinary results. The world will not wait while you get organized. Opportunity favors those who can see, decide, and act with clarity and strength. A focused mind is unshakable. It commands the mouth, the mood, the money, and the energy because it does not get pulled by every impulse. It knows what matters. It sees what is essential. It moves relentlessly toward it while distractions crumble and chaos fades. When you learn to focus, you reclaim control over your life. You step into power that others spend a lifetime chasing. Focus is your weapon, your anchor, and your guide. Master it, and you become unstoppable. Your environment is the silent architect of your life. It shapes your habits, influences your mood, and directs your thoughts, often without you realizing it. Surround yourself with chaos, clutter, or negativity, and your energy dissipates, your focus falters, and your mind becomes restless. Surround yourself with order, inspiration, and positivity, and suddenly every decision, every action, every thought gains clarity and force. You cannot control the world, but you can control the space in which you live, work, and think, and that control determines the trajectory of your life. Most people underestimate the power of their surroundings. They drift into environments that drain them, then wonder why they feel tired, distracted, or unmotivated. The people you spend time with, the information you consume, the sounds and visuals you allow into your consciousness, all of it is programming your mind. Toxic energy is contagious, negativity spreads, laziness multiplies, and yet the reverse is equally true. Productivity, optimism, focus, and discipline also spread when nurtured consciously. You become the average of your environment, and choosing that environment is not optional if you aim to be exceptional. Clarity emerges when you control your space. Declutter your surroundings, reduce unnecessary stimuli, and design your environment to support the person you are becoming. The room, the office, the digital landscape, they should all be aligned with your vision. Every object, every sound, every influence either propels you forward or holds you back. Discipline in your environment reinforces discipline in your mind, your actions, and your decisions. Control the environment, and you control the forces that push or pull you every day. Science confirms what the great achievers have always known. Environment shapes behavior more powerfully than willpower alone. When you are constantly bombarded by distractions, your ability to focus collapses. Your energy drains faster, your discipline weakens. But when your surroundings are structured to support excellence, focus becomes effortless, energy multiplies, and momentum accelerates. Excellence is not born in chaos. It is cultivated in intentional space. Boundaries are essential. Limit exposure to people who drain you, content that wastes you, and habits that diminish you. Protect your mind and body by creating barriers against negativity. You are not being harsh or unkind. You are being strategic. Every boundary is a shield that preserves energy, protects focus, and strengthens the life you are building. The strongest, most successful individuals do not just act. They design their world to make action inevitable and distraction impossible. Control over your environment also cultivates peace. Noise, clutter, and chaos weigh heavily on the mind. They erode patience, increase stress, and accelerate reactive behavior. But when your space is intentional, every movement becomes easier, every thought becomes clearer, and every choice becomes more deliberate. Your environment either fuels your greatness or fuels your weakness. You get to decide which. Every choice you make about where you live, who you spend time with, and what you allow into your consciousness is a vote for the life you are creating. Discipline, clarity, focus, and energy all flourish in intentional space. The world may be unpredictable, but your environment does not have to be. Shape it with precision, protect it with vigilance, and watch as the forces around you stop controlling you and start supporting you. Your surroundings are not neutral. They are a tool. Use them to build the life you deserve.